What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Core Conversations for Monday, August 22nd. This year is just flying by. We got our dad goals, and I was thinking about some of the people I've had on in the past. I'm going to circle back around and reach out to some of these guys that I've been working with early during the core Conversations who are talking to parenting and to some of those issues. So I just thought about that as I thought about my dad goals cup that I was walk with. So, hi Anna, thanks for joining us. Where are you watching us from this morning? Subscribe and share. Link is in the bio. Portugal? Nice. Portugal's in the house. I have friends who live in Portugal. I should let them know that you're there and teaching. If you can, Anna, reach out to me afterwards. I'm gonna screenshot this so I remember too. But I have friends who have actually just bought a property in Portugal, and I'd love to get them connected with you to do some Pilates. This is what our international community should be able to do, right? I have friends going to Barcelona. I think of Maria Earl there. If you know anyone who's coming to Toronto, please let me know. I'd more than be happy to help them do some work with them. So we connect, and this is how we get everyone going, right? So that would be fun. I have some more housekeeping things to do here. Just give me 1 second. Sorry guys, just saying some real quick people. Okay, awesome. Porto. Hi, Nikki. Amazing. That would be so good. Yeah, I'd definitely love to do that. Nicole, where are you located again too? I had a dinner conversation last night with some friends who were traveling, and I instantly thought, oh, I know someone who lives there. And what a treat it is, thanks to these conversations, to know a Pilates instructor pretty much everywhere in the world. I'm pretty confident that you, as a viewer, New York City's in the house, as a viewer, if you have a client who's going on vacation, Instagram message, some guests that we've had here and say, hey, my client's coming to France. Fabrice, can they come meet with you? Or they're gonna be in Switzerland. Fabrice, can we go to you? Or Maria Earl in Portugal, or someone in Australia. There's all these different places in the world where we have connections. Do you do that right now? If you ever have clients who are traveling, do you reach out to the Pilates studio locally? Trinidad, JB Pilates in Trinidad. Who's in Jamaica? Selena's in Jamaica. I could pin them and just connect everybody. That's there's so many things that can be done. What's going on, Phil? So finding those people that we're connected with and then connecting them to it. So that's what I want to talk about. One of the things, actually, Phil, I don't know if you could join me on screen if you're like, locked down with work with the kids or whatever. But I want to talk about a line that I said on Friday. And I don't usually run on something that I said, but it's really off of what Andrew said. And it's that conversation around dedication, discipline, and having a rhythm or having a cadence we've said in the past. Yes, all good. I'm going to throw it up anyways because we can talk about this. And in the conversation, in the chat after, please do it. So here is the quote that I put up earlier. As this is like our talking point for today. This quote is pretty significant to me. Michael Piercy put this up last week, and I shot him a message real quick because when I was teaching at Lifetime and I was the education manager or whatever the title was, regional education specialist, I would have all these personal trainers who came in. I would do their onboarding. We'd spend a whole week together doing all kinds of training, the nuances of the job, some, drinking the Kool-Aid type stuff, corporate stuff, but then also how to build your business, how to do sales. But the first thing I did on the second day possibly, was I wrote this quote on the wall, on the whiteboard. It says, if you're going to be an overnight success, you have to be an everyday hustler. The other saying that people say is, it takes you 10 years to be an overnight success. Both of those speak to the fact that we are underestimating the daily grind that's going to take to that place where people look at it and say, where did he come from? I think of my brother starting his new business and all that he's doing in insurance. If you're going to build a book of business, you got to be an everyday hustler. And then all of a sudden people are going to be like, where did that guy come from? I hope they're all chasing after that where did they come from moment where, whether it's your studio success or the fact that everyone refers to you for your business, you're the first name that comes to mind. Like, well, there's a lot of people, like, how do they get to a place where they're the authority on this? This is kind of piggybacking on some conversations I've been having in real life. Like, I took some time yesterday and we were spending some time, we're at a friend's party, and one of my friends that I haven't spoken to in a while is in the music industry, and there's people who make videos and do visuals and stuff, and they have like no real clout, but then they're right up front and center, or so it appears. When the reality is that they've been doing all the work in the background, and they've been connecting, and they've been out, and they've been reaching out to people, and they've been doing all the things in the background. So when all of a sudden their video has millions of followers, or they get this high profile clients, or those things, you look at them like they've been an overnight success, when the reality is that they've been an everyday hustler. They've been putting in the work. They've been doing those things that is the discipline that brings them to that place. So as Phil said here, perspective truth. Yeah, it is. It is. George, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. The reason why I put that post up is because I was talking to Andrea Mitchell on Friday, and she was saying like, hey, good for you. It's been you're doing this every day, and that takes a lot of dedication. And my response was, it's just a rhythm. And that's literally what I said. It's just a rhythm. And what I meant by that is, I'm just in the pattern of doing this. I'm in the habit of doing this. I'm in the discipline of doing this. I don't have to tell myself, okay, I'm going to be disciplined today and show up at 10 o'clock and have a conversation. There's a daily flow. We've used the word cadence in the past. Exactly. So that daily flow is it. And let's let's stay in the music piece for a minute. So if I say rhythm, if you're listening to a song and the bassist is kind of keeping the rhythm for the song, I don't think he's thinking A, D, 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 D the whole time. He's just in his rhythm. He's in his flow. There was a time when it took a lot of discipline. And then it hits a point where there's this flow to it, what he's doing. What can be done with ease must first be done with diligence. And that is the piece I hope to inspire you with today. Whatever you're doing, whatever your field, whatever your industry, whatever your passion, keep at it. Stay with it with a sense of consistency. Keep grinding on it. If you said that you're gonna make 10 phone calls every single day, Phil's saying you make it hard to work with all this deep talk. Well, maybe it's time to take a pause and get back in it after for the sake of productivity. Productivity is a whole separate conversation that we might get into. The consistency piece, the king of consistency. That sense of keeping to your rhythm is so beneficial. And I wonder if, maybe that's just me leaning into something that's comfortable for me, just having a set routine so I don't have to think about it. Because if I ever have to break that routine, it's difficult. It's a very planned thing to break the habit out of, right? So the conversation that we're having yesterday around this was the fact that it's like you just have to keep showing up. You just have to keep doing it consistently, even when no one shows up. There's going to be days when it looks like it's futile, it doesn't bear any fruit, and then there's days when you feel like you're on top of the world. It's like your golf swing. I don't play golf much, but there's times that I go to a driving range or I go out with some friends for my one golf game a year, and you swing a club and nothing happens, and the ball just trickles away, or you hit it like kind of flat, and then you connect. And when you connect, that thing just sails. It's effortless, and like you didn't muscle through it, and everything was just perfect. And that keeps you going. And then after a while, you have this confidence that even though you haven't had that hit in like maybe the last 15 swings, it's gonna happen at some point. So that consistency is what keeps you going, because you know that there's a one time that it connects, right? So that dedication, that consistency, that rhythm, and that discipline are all those little pieces that tie into it. So for you in your business right now, my question is, what do you want to work on? What's next for your business? For example, I can say for me, I want to start getting some classes going. I've been talking about doing like Joe's Gym type classes where there's different people on different pieces of equipment, and just rolling that out in real form, maybe even a virtual hybrid, but to get that class going. But to do that, I have to start this whole process of consistency again. Making posts, telling people, calling old clients, telling people, like whatever it is, sit down and build that out. So yes, thanks Phil for putting that in the chat, getting more clients. If you wanted to put in the chat what you want to work on, please do that. And the fact that I don't have a guest today, if you want to join me on screen, you could request to join live and we can talk it out. So we'll use me as a case study right now. I want to get some group classes on the schedule. So since COVID, I've only been doing privates and personal training sessions and like partner sessions. So to get that open class format, that's going to take some consistency. That's going to take setting a time, not giving in to the quick dollar of taking a private during that time or makeup session, and being dedicated to it for as long as it takes for it to become a rhythm, for it to look like there's some dedication. So it's tough, and that's where it also costs too, right? Because now instead of taking $100 or $120 for a session, I'm going to be taking $30 when one person shows up for the class. and then maybe 120 when 4 people show up, and then the next week it might be 90. So it's going from consistency to inconsistency until it finds a place that's locked in and people know that this is happening. And then all of a sudden, 6 months from now, I'm going to look like an overnight success because I was an everyday hustler. So for those of you in the chat, a few people, Phil said more clients. Jack is saying follow-up and future planning. What is it for you? Please put it in the chat. The follow-up one is good too. And I like that because now follow-up is a discipline, and it might be beneficial to just have one locked in time instead of feeling like you have to react every time someone sends you a message. Whatever it is, you find your cadence and you go with it, and then you stay consistent with it. And I find that too for me can be something that after I've talked to people all day long in real life, I really don't want to get on a phone. I really don't want to send a message, and it gets pushed off to the next day. So yeah, follow-up can be a challenge, and that's where your money comes from, right? When those people are repeat people, instead of chasing a new dollar, you can take care of your existing dollars, right? So yeah, it's interesting. It's good stuff. Dedication, discipline, rhythm. Jack, anything else to say on the follow-up? And what do you mean by future planning? Just like basically strategic planning for your business? Just like taking those next steps, growing your business, take it to the next level? Okay, so Phil is saying maybe you should go through the process you touched on in passing, maybe discuss the process. Okay, so yeah, I could do that. I mean, it's not perfect for me, but I kind of have an idea of what I want it to look like. So what part? Because I agree with you. I think those are helpful conversations. Even if it's like just a different system that you use, and you could, integrate one part into yours, or I can learn from you. So let's see. See if there are any sticky spots about finding the sticky spot solution. Okay. Right. I think to that, talking at a high level, one of the things that I found has been helpful for me is to set, just put them in my calendar, much like when I've fallen out of routine for working out, to just put the workout in my schedule, like to literally put everything that I'm going to do for the day in my calendar, not just my paid clients, but what time I'm going to eat, what time I'm going to take a nap, what time I'm going to do a follow-up, what time I'm going to process some payments or write some invoices. Like every second of one day needs to be locked in, and then review it. Because the other part of that too, let's be real, for me is I'll write it down and then not look at it again for the rest of the day. Shout out to my friend Kwesi, who has this journal. I've mentioned this before in the past, the Rise Journal. And obviously it's the writing is reverse. I'll hold it there. It's a simple way to be happy and to have more peace. He has a book called Rise Above, and then in this journal, once again, sorry about the reverse script, that's what a blank page looks like. And I kind of use this as my work journal. Like I love journaling, I love writing. So I've come into the pattern of making this my work journal. So when I get to work in the morning, the first thing I do is open it up, and then I do the reframing, like what am I grateful for, and then identifying or like what are my intentions for the day. So for example, I may say I need to put up some posts about my online class just to remind people that I do virtual classes, or to go back and just grab a soundbite from a core conversation. So it's not really like my personal journal where I'm reflecting on things in my life. It's more like, what was on my agenda? What was my future planning? What were the things that I was working on? So this has almost become my professional journal. There you go, Kwesi. You have another angle for selling these. Because I would highly recommend that if you have any kind of rhythm for journaling, That's great. If you have no rhythm at all, buy one of these, get to work half an hour earlier, and write down what you're going to do for the day. And then, this is where I've fallen short. I'm probably going to have to set an alarm to do this. At noon, go back and look at where you are on your intentions for the day. It'll be 2 o'clock in the afternoon and realize that I have not started my podcast yet. So I need to go back and make sure that I repost that and get that tagged off so I can knock that off. And then, so that sort of thing. So this has become like my professional journal. Jack's got a comment here. It says, in my 9 to 5, I have to plan events and follow up with people because it impacts their interview and application process. Okay. Right. So, now, Jack, do you find like it's a little bit easier to do that because someone else is going to be negatively impacted if you drop the ball? Yeah. So, second comment, that was what I meant on the follow-up and planning. Okay, cool. And I love the idea of a work journal that is separate from a planner. Yeah. It wasn't my plan. Like, he mailed one of these to me. Full disclosure, he mailed one just for feedback, and I finished it. And I said, hey, I want to buy one. And I got a second one, and I used it. Now, this is my third one. Like, this is part of my rhythm. This is what I do every single work day. So maybe that's what you need. Maybe you just need to create a new flow for your day. And take it from there. I gotta write a review for this, Kwesi. Once again, much love. I appreciate how that pilot project has become a part of what I do now. So, yeah. So, Jack, listen here. Let me. You know what I'll do in the handle? In the comments after, I'll put this so you guys can check it out, maybe on Amazon, and get your review on it because I feel like it could be something that works for you. All right, changing subjects at 10:24 here. I had another thought. And Phil, I guess, actually, let me read this comment that just came through. Yes, 100% moving into a new role, a new class can be intimidating, nerve-wracking, and inattentiveness, a lack of follow-up will impact them negatively, right? Yeah? Yeah, it happens. And then it looks bad on you professionally too, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, I called Martin and he never returned my call, or he dropped the ball. I know that happens, man. I hate when it happens. I feel bad, but you gotta just like move on and make sure that the next person has a positive experience, right? So it go. A different eye. I just put it hits different at the top because like this is a really interesting way of explaining things. How many of you out there in the Pilates world have taken a Pilates class, shadowed for someone doing a class, or just watched a Pilates class that's going on and realized that you are subbing it next week and it's going to be vastly different from what they've been doing for Pilates? Not better, not worse, just different. How do you communicate the fact that it's going to be a different experience for the people? Arms crossed because they've been doing Pilates for 40 years and they're used to using all props, or they're classical and their nose is in the air using props because they've always done the set order or whatever it is. Like, throw in whatever dynamic you want. We were talking about this on Friday where instead of saying, well, I teach like this and I whatever, the way that it was phrased was, I have a different eye. So it's not like I'm going to say I'm a classical teacher and all that old school, all that new school stuff isn't good, or I'm a contemporary teacher and all that old school stuff isn't good and I'm going to teach you a better way. None of that stuff. My name's Martin. I have a different eye. I'll be looking for different things in this class. I was taught here, and that informs how I'm going to be teaching you. And this is what I will be looking for as we move today. I love the phrase, I have a different eye. It takes away the hierarchy, and it brings you back to a place of saying, this is what I learned. This is what informs how I teach, and this is probably what you're going to experience when I teach. Good morning, Coach Robin Renee. What are your thoughts on that? I have a different eye. Join me on screen. Write your comments in the comment section. I want to unpack that a little bit more, but at this point, instead of highlighting one brand applies over another, simply saying, I have a different eye. How does that hit for you? Excuse me. Coach Robin, you on your walk this morning? What's going on, Cecilia? I didn't notice that you joined on here. Yes. So Jack's saying, yes, I love that because it helps highlight the strength and experience of each instructor working. Yes. And I love that comment about highlighting the strengths and experience of each instructor, because I don't like the head in the sand approach of saying, I don't see any difference. That's like saying, I don't see any color, or like, I don't notice. Like, it's you can't diminish the differences, but you also can't hate on the differences. So if we're highlighting the strengths, yes, it's a different experience, and then we don't have to get into hierarchies of a conversation about which one's better, which one's worse. It's just different. It just hits different. Love that. Thank you for that comment. So good. So I'd encourage you to try that. Let me know how that lands when you're subbing a class. When you have a new client who's had Pilates experience in the past. I have a different eye. This is what I was taught. This is where I was taught. This is what I'm looking for. This is what you might experience today. The beauty of that kind of conversation, of that dialogue, is that it further educates our people. I feel like that is the thing that I keep coming back to. Are we educating our clients, or are we just giving them a good workout? Anyone can make them sweat. They can take a P90X video and sweat, but are we educating them along the way? Then they can choose what they want to pursue. And that's why people go to all these different places. They're shopping their instructors. They're trying F45 and then 9 round and then some kickboxing place and then CrossFit, and they try all those different things. They get educated on these different ways to move their body, and then finally they land at, I'm going to join here and do this, and that's going to be it. Coach Andrew, what's up? So, Riza 56, I reached out to a bunch of different coaches. I wanted to talk on the discipline thing and dedication, one of the topics that we touched on earlier. So hold tight and let's see if someone else jumps in. And I'll circle back because I have these guys who are in the basketball world and it hits differently as well. I like having different people in the room for these conversations. What's going on, Misty Lynn Cawthon? Okay, let's go back to Jack's comment. So some of the instructors I've taken are dance coaches or fitness trainers, high school teachers, etc. It's super cool to see how they bring their personality and variety in their instructions. Right. Misty, it's so funny with you just jumping in the room. I feel like these are the conversations that you and I have often, but when there's different people in the room, different people in the chat, it comes up again and again and again, and I think it's always a great refresher. So yes, a different eye can help clients to be more open to different things. It does, but and Robin, to your point there, it's one thing to have a different eye, it's another thing to explain the difference without diminishing the other pieces. So like what I'm saying is that like I can have a different eye, but it's another thing to say I studied kettlebells for 10 years before I came into Pilates. So I'm looking for hip engagement and glute engagement and proper extension and rotation in a joint. And I may be teaching Pilates, but then I'm looking for different things that might actually help the person in a different way because they might have a shoulder injury, and our Pilates mindset can inform that, but a kettlebell person might have a better understanding of the joint rotation and stuff like that might have been their thing. So it's one thing to have it, and what I'm getting to is the communication of what we have. The nuance. Can I get an indeed? So that's the thing. And this is like, maybe this is me maturing. Because I know that 2 years ago, if you were to pull up some old Core Conversations piece, you would have heard me ranting about the times that I've gone into a Pilates class and there was no Pilates taught. And it's a yoga class with few ab exercises, and I'd hate on the teacher, and I'd be like, don't call it Pilates, and I'd be rah, 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 rah. Now I'm just like, no, just say you have a different eye. Just say you're looking for different things. Tell people what they're doing. We're leaving Pilates land and we're gonna do this yoga cat and cow stretch. How many people in the average Pilates class would think that a downward dog is a Pilates exercise because they don't go to yoga and they're in their Pilates class and the person gives that to them? There's fitness illiterate people in our classes. Why not give them an education? Thank you for that, indeed. Yes. So maybe I have the same soapbox as before. I don't know. I just think about that because I liked that phraseology, a different eye. Misty, what's going on for this week? Are we on for Wednesday? And what is going on for Thought Flow this week, if you've planned that far ahead? I can't say that I ever planned that far ahead for my stuff, so I'm not expecting you to know. And Dr. Kator, where are you from? See, George K, you've been in the room a couple times, so I really appreciate that. A plan? Question mark? Yes. Speaking of plans, actually, all the people that I've been trying to get on for this week haven't confirmed yet. So we are singing and dancing as we go, and that's fine because it makes for great conversations. I really appreciate everyone who comes in and makes it real. Cool. We were talking on, sorry, the comment came out just before I jump into that. I've also seen how, so Jackie's comment is, I've also seen some of those instructors take other instructors' classes, and that helps to encourage us to take another class to try instructors when they see the value of others' eyes. I strongly recommend that. I was just thinking about that on my way in this morning too, that it's time for me to take some more classes with people like you. And whether it's an online class or actually driving down to someone's studio locally, I still have not seen Martin Phil's in real life ever. So I think I should probably go down and take one of his classes or Kara's boot camp classes and just get a workout in. And do that. Those other instructors, it's like back in the day you went to a dance club and then you watch people dance, you go to another club and then you use their dance moves and everyone thinks you're the man. Go get some dance moves from somewhere else, right? And just like get another eye, another perspective, let it inform how you do your thing, and let it run. It's good. We were talking about consistency and discipline before, right at the beginning, and it's so funny. Like last Thursday, I didn't do a core conversation because I had an appointment. I ended up early, but I didn't come on anyways. Took my little break there. And then yesterday, I signed off completely. Didn't go on Instagram or screen time, anything yesterday at all. And, had like a day party in the day, had a birthday party that evening, and just got a chance to stop, unplug, off the campaign trail, off the screen, and just enjoy people in real life. It was such a good time. Highly recommend it if you are someone like me who likes to go 100 miles an hour and doesn't even feel that they're getting tired until they're tired. So, yes, I see Misty's comment, and exactly, everyone has a spin. It's always interesting. Vaughn, nice. Okay, cool. So George is saying, I'm from Vaughan and I'm a former manager, not related to the fitness industry, but curious why someone would choose Pilates versus other fitness options. Love it. There's nothing wrong with a novice question. And actually, while I'm answering it, if you in the chat would like to answer as well, I'm sure we can co-create an answer for this question. Why would someone choose Pilates versus other fitness options? I had to answer this question for someone at a party yesterday, like why Pilates? And I was saying that it allows you to get length, create space in your joints. It helps with your posture, helps with your core. It doesn't have the same pounding on your joints. So sometimes people have been looking for a solution for their fitness, their wellness, or weight loss, and they get into a context where they are lifting really heavy weights and they have to give up on their fitness goal because they've hurt their ankle or their back starts hurting and all those different things. I find that Pilates sometimes becomes a gentle option for some people to keep them moving without excuse for a longer period of time. The other side of that too is I like to approach men and high-level athletes and weekend warriors because it's something they can add to their workouts, that adds to their mobility and adds to their injury-free space and all those different things. So Pilates itself becomes like a one-size-fits-all type of exercise modality because you can meet people with strength, you can meet people with mobility, you can meet people with injury correction, you can keep them moving. I could have, show of hands if you agree with this, I could have a client come in 7 days a week and do Pilates with me and not feel burnt out at the end of the week because we've been doing different things and addressing their body in different ways every single day. It'd be expensive for them, but it can be done. So that's just my thoughts on that. I think that Pilates really does meet people where they are and it gets them stronger in their weakest links. What say you? Yes. And I also would say it's not Pilates versus other fitness options. I think that Pilates, and that's, I'm not knocking your question, but sometimes Pilates instructors If you're in a big box gym where they have a Pilates studio in the back left corner, if you walk through the treadmills and down the hall and down the stairs and make 3 corners and then you'll find a studio, we get into a place where it becomes a silo unto itself instead of recognizing that it is an integrated part of the whole fitness industry, and that piece can be supplemental to other things that you're doing. So that's not embedded in your question, but sometimes that's the way that professionals treat it. Like, just go over there and do Pilates instead of it being part of what we do. Jack saying, that was my first week. And then Robin Renee is saying, I describe Pilates as the one-stop shop, customized to meet you wherever you are on your fitness journey. Boom. Missy Lynn Cawthon is saying, it also dives deeper. It's more than simply exercise. It allows one to understand, but not just move. Yes. And that's the other part of it too, and that's full circle to the education piece. I feel like Misty's comment is true, and maybe that is why I got into Pilates, because I was doing that when I was doing personal training. I would say this, like, when I was training trainers, anyone can make people do burpees all day long. Like, I can make you sweat, but I'm not educating you on what a dynamic warm-up looks like, what a proper bicep curl looks like, what a proper lat pull down looks like. I can educate you on those things. And then you understand how your body works and where a movement originates from and all those different things. So it happens in the personal training world too, where it is helping people to understand their body and not just move. But then that takes someone being intentional with their interaction with their client, whether they're going to make them move or make them understand why they're moving. The second part to that, yes, is what Miss is saying, challenging the mind and building stamina, etc. The mind-body connection is the other piece that is really integrated into Pilates. And when you can get people engaged mentally with their movement, then that makes it a deeper movement as well. And that sometimes gets lost in other modalities. And I think that is definitely part of it. Anyone else want to chime in with their thoughts on it? The original question from George was, why would someone choose Pilates versus other fitness options? I love that. I love coming back to those original questions, because if you're running the business, that's a question that people are going to ask you. And sometimes we get so caught up in the mire of talking shop with our colleagues that we don't think about how the layperson who doesn't understand what Pilates is might be thinking, what their approach to it might be. I have people who say to me, I want to do some Pilates, but I just want to fix my back first, and then I'll come to see you. That happened to me last week. Jack's comment here, my past workouts were often forced balancing form, spread at the form and speed at the same time, but slower reps implies help me to keep proper form and feel to move properly. Yeah, right, so that proper form, slower reps, nowhere to hide, no momentum, that stuff's great. That's where my sport conditioning comes into it. And I'm like, okay, do it slow, get it right, then get it fast. Because that's real life, right? Like, I can do footwork on the reformer, slow, controlled, all day long. And then when the toddler starts to run out in the street and I had to just get up and sprint and get to save this child, I'd have no time for a dynamic warm-up and to make sure that my feet are properly connecting with the floor and rolling from my heel to my toe. I just gotta go. So how do we get people from that slow, controlled rep to moving fast with proper form and control and movement and breath and all those different things? So my mind goes back to that. So yes, I'm a Pilates guy, but I'm also a sport conditioning guy. And in this game of life, you need to be ready to do it all. So do it slow, get that form, get it right, then go. Like, there's nobody that doesn't need to know and understand how to move quickly. Superman, yes. I put my cape on first before I run and get the child from the burning building. You got me going on a tangent now about aging adults and super seniors, as I call them. We still got to work on explosive movement with them. We still have, like, what happens when you're teaching them Pilates and everything is just a slow control movement, and then when they're leaving the studio, they slip on ice? Then they have to make a sudden explosive movement that they've never trained for in the studio to save themselves from breaking their wrist or their hip when they hit the ground. So there's something to be said for those slow, controlled movements, but there's something to be said for translating to everyday life with explosive strength, power. It looks different on a different body, but it doesn't mean you can't still train them to think about how to read and react when those things happen, right? So I have that. I'm working with a gentleman who has had both hips replaced, 74 years old, used to play squash, now he's slowing down, but we're still trying to get him to move as fast as he can, with as much power as he can. You know, like, it's still relevant. It just looks different, but it's still a relevant principle. Gotta go for those style points, Misty Lynn Coffin. Philip Griffin, what's going on, my friend? Like one of your past guests said, exercise is a rehearsal for life. Boom. That's exactly it. Who said that? It might be a Joel Crosby line. Was that Joel, anybody? Or it could have been Anita, Miss Doctorate in Music. But exactly, exercise is a rehearsal for life. And I have to say this too, Missy. I didn't say this the other day when we were chatting, like in real life, but I guess on our co-hosting thing. It was fun to see you moving. It was fun. We talk and we wax philosophical, and you talk politics and we talk movement and stuff like that. But when seeing you teach for the balanced body and those photo shoots and just seeing you move and talk and stuff like that, I think that's refreshing too. I like watching us actually move and do the thing. That is the real life that we've been rehearsing for with these conversations, that we're rehearsing for when we do all these other stuff. Like when we get out and just do it, like that's so fun to watch. It was just fun to watch it. It was so much fun and tiring and all that stuff to do it, but it was fun from this side to watch it. I don't know about you, but I love watching all these people who are in this chat when they make a post when they're doing an exercise and they're struggling with something. Like I just like, that's like, oh, they move really well. Like that looks fun. Like I like watching that stuff. I like seeing us move and put into practice all these things that we talk about. We don't have to get into the Pilates police and all that stuff. Like just move. Yes, show more of that. Do it. You know, that was one of the conversations someone was having. They're saying, oh, I like to show my clients and like to show their progress. I don't like to show off. And I've heard that rhetoric, and I'm like, you know what? You're going to see me putting stuff out there. You're going to see me throwing up exercises and talking about it, and you're going to see me actually moving. And it's not that I'm trying to make a billboard out of myself. I want to celebrate the fact that I can move. Who knows how long you're going to have this mobility for? Do those crazy exercises. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. Don't be a snob about it. Celebrate movement. Invite people to celebrate their body's ability to move. So yes, Misty, put that out there. It is great to watch. It is inspiring. George, I hope we answered your question. Pilates is where it's at. It is fun. I do a lot of stuff, but I always come back to this. This is the thing. I'm on a campaign trail trying to get votes for council, to be a city councilor, and I'm still talking about Pilates at the door. Oh, you hurt your back? Well, that same phone number for my campaign is my cell phone number. Call me and I'll get you in the studio. That happens. If we're going to talk about a healthy, active community wherever you are, it's so funny how you don't have to be running into politics to recognize that you are dictating how active your community is going to be. You are an authority on movement for your neighborhood, for your community. You are the mayor of movement for wherever you are. Remember that. So we have that influence. So put your stuff out there, put your posts out there, share your stuff, educate your people. All those things are all interconnected. Share your differences, partner with other people, and celebrate those strengths, right? So all that stuff is there. Yes, so George, You are in Vaughan. If you ever want to come down to the studio, I would be more than happy to get you all up and some of this equipment that we have here. So message me after, we'll make that happen. Or you could jump on my online classes in the middle of the week too. Back to the discipline. Got to start pushing our stuff, right? Yes. That's some good talk, everybody. Keep moving. Any other thoughts on that? I want to find who said that comment about exercise and rehearsal for life. I'm pretty sure that was a Joel Crosby line. Not sure. Something to think about. All right, party people. Move it or lose it. Just move. Facts. I'm going to get my guest lined up for this week, Misty. Some people... thought process for Wednesday, and that's about it. We good? Thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. Today is 10:52. I'm gonna get ready for my client. Have a great day. We're back at it tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday is my friend Miss Linda Cotton, who's been in the chat all day, is my co-host. Super fun. Lots of love for my friend Misty. Thank you to Jack, to George, Coach Robin, Renee, all the party people in the room. It's been a good time. Olivia, thanks for jumping on. Check the replay. We got some good stuff that came out today. And we're out.